Today I have Ben Wiley with me from Basement Builders from Calgary, and the subject today is all about should you renovate your basement, turn it into a rental suite, and make some money. And there's a permit process. We must have, I'm going to assume, a fire escape window or at least an egress window.
At least one egress window, but an egress window basically for every bedroom within the suite itself. Also the door, as you know, it needs to swing in.
Now, these are things that a lot of people out there don't realize that are going to be costly, because it isn't just if you don't have a door to the basement from the outside, you're going to put in a door. You're going to dig down, you're going to put a drain in the floor. That's got to also be attached to the sump pump. And that's, you want that drain at the bottom of the stairs just in case of pouring rain, snow melt. You don't want that turned into a bathtub where the water comes back inside the door or into the basement.
Yeah.
So these become very costly, big time now. You know, kids don't move out to the 30, 40. What the hell's the matter with you? Get a job.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm kidding. It's just it's expensive to buy a house now. But that's a great point, is to always think of the future of what you're buying. When you're looking at a house, does it have the possibility for a basement apartment?
So when you're developing a legal secondary suite, that you put a side door entrance in. You need to think about design of how people are moving in and out. They're renters. Maybe they don't care about the home quite as much as you do. So when you're building those stairs, or how the side entrance with the stair, is there a giant turn? Where is that door exactly? Because then the last thing you do is want to come home after they've moved in and now your completely brand new stairs is all scratched up all the way down.
So design is really important, and this is where a lot of homeowners, even though they may have that talent for picking colors and I know what type of tiles I want, etc., they may not understand that structural need in putting their basement into a basement apartment.
Yeah.
Thinking really well. If you rent out to someone that's got a massive couch, they're going to bang the living hell out of the walls on the way downstairs. I've seen it every time.
Yep.
It's just as, this is part of probably what you're doing. You're going in saying we should change the stairs here, giving the advice. So let's go into the design. What would you do with the homeowners? What's your first goal?
So the first goal of the homeowner, like I do this for clients or friends. I'll go into a house and I'll take a look, and they'll ask me, what's good about a legal secondary suite, or is this one going to be easy for it? So what I'm looking for is egress windows right off the bat, but also the location of them, because if it doesn't make sense with a walkout or a side door entrance, you've now got this random window that's really nice in a living room, but we're still cutting another one over in the other corner anyway.
So in other words, just that egress window may be in the wrong spot to put a bedroom.
Absolutely. So then now you're looking at, it's between $2,500 to $4,000 depending on your jurisdiction in Alberta there, and then that can add cost to it. The second thing we're looking for is location of furnace. How easy is it to add a second furnace to it without creating a bunch of bulkheads throughout your basement as well? Because I'm always striving for a better tenant, one that's going to stay a long time, a quality tenant. And what they want is they want the design to look like it was meant to be rather than you just covering everything up. So I want to make sure that the ductwork can be run throughout the basement without creating any low ceilings, because there is a code for that. But at the same time, you want it to be bright and airy and open, right? And then what we're looking for is plumbing stacks. That can save you quite a bit. So
that's where your bathroom's going to be.
Where the
laundry's going to be.
Yeah.
Now you can actually cut the floor and put it wherever the hell you want it, but now venting it, putting air behind the drain, because you have to have that air behind the water, well, you have to do damage to get upstairs.
You're going into the ceiling, if it's an older bungalow, you might have asbestos you need to test for, then it's a roof repair. Those types of things is what takes something from $80,000 to $130,000 really fast.
An older home, anything that's 1985 or younger, you have to check for asbestos. The rule of thumb was 1980. They outruled asbestos in the plaster, asbestos tile, asbestos acoustic breaker boards from the furnace, or boots around all registers that they put in. Now, they allowed 5 years for that to be, so that now means 1985. If the house is before 1985, you can tell right away that you're going to have to spend a little more money to check. And I'm sure you do all this.
We do. And actually, to be fair, that as of January 1st, I believe, the City of Calgary now requires that when we're just developing a basement at all, but older than 1985, we have to put in the test. We actually have to submit that it's...
They're just doing it now? And in Toronto, here in Ontario, we've had that for a long time.
We go.
I didn't even know it. I mean, I was doing basements when I was young, really young. And it wasn't until probably I was 35 that an inspector come in and said, you know to do this, right? Nobody ever said that to me. Nobody ever said you got to check for asbestos. These are things we learn as contractors along the way, and homeowners hopefully also.